Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode of the What Worked for You show. Today's guest I'm honored to have because we're going to talk not just about business and how to become a business owner, but also we're going to sprinkle in the subject of faith. And it's kind of a, hey, when faith and purpose meet business kind of setup, which if you've been an entrepreneur, you probably feel like everything you do is an act of faith, whether you are spiritual or not. And today's guest, we're going to dive into this subject because the reality is being an entrepreneur definitely is a leap of faith, both spiritually, regardless of your belief system, economically, physically, mentally, all these things play in. And so we're going to talk about those things today with our guest, Rob Rene. It is a joy to have you on the show today. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for having me. It's gonna be a fun
Absolutely.
conversation.
It is, it is. And you know what? I made a mistake and didn't mute my phone. So one moment, because we definitely do not want it going off. The airplane mode is absolutely important.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
when somebody meets you today, whether it's through your company, Exodus Strong, or your podcast, and we'll talk about that some more, they're seeing a man that's on fire with a purpose. In fact, one of your goals is to reach 1 million people to read the Bible daily. So I'm like, and we want to talk about that. We also want to talk about how that fits into the business world.
Right.
But what part of all this right now is filling you with the most joy between business and a natural supplement, podcast, this mission you have? I mean, that's a lot of joy. Tell us.
Yeah, lots of things going on, that's for sure. I mean, it's just I finally feel like I'm in my purpose, which growing up. If you asked me 5 years ago if I was doing what I'm doing now, I would have said you're absolutely crazy. There's no way I'm going to be doing what I'm doing now. But it's just amazing how God orchestrates your life and my life. But in particular, I can look back at my life and I can see how He's trained me all along to do what I'm doing today, which is really bizarre. But at the same point, I've had a number of occurrences in my life where I could have died and I didn't. And so I know He has a purpose for me. And one of those was literally just less than 6 weeks, 7 weeks ago. So it's just crazy that I'm still here. And so now I just have a huge desire to help people, and I want to help people with their health. I've got some amazing knowledge and information that I've been learning, and I want to be able to share that with people, and I want to get them healthy. And then if so inclined, they want to have a faith conversation, I would love to have a faith conversation with them as well. 'Cause that's why I'm here on this earth.
So you just now you got us wondering what happened 6, 7 weeks ago. Well, that's great, but what just happened?
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's like I literally I've had a heart condition called bradycardia for a really long time, like decades. And my heart was really beating slow. And they told me 30 years ago that maybe 20 years ago that I needed a pacemaker. And he said, or you can just, God made you the way you are. Maybe you can just revisit it later. So all of a sudden, here it is later because I went to a doctor about a year ago, and he's like, did some testing on me, and they were flipping out because I just was getting my blood work done, and they're like, your heart is really low, and I'm like, well, yeah. And they said they ended up making me go. My EKG came back bad, so they made me go to a cardiologist. And that did a bunch of tests with that cardiologist. He said you need to get a pacemaker. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to get a pacemaker. I want to go do things naturally. So I was going to try to figure out a way to fix my heart naturally. Make a really, really long story short, over this last year, I've had three different cardiologists tell me I need to get a pacemaker, and I kept refusing, but I ended up contracting or get diagnosed with cancer about 11 months ago, and going through that cancer journey. And I believe that God is knocking on my door saying, hey, I've given you three different helpers, and all three of them have told you to get a pacemaker, and you're still not listening. So anyway, I get cancer. I go through this, and my cancer doctor say, "Hey, we may have to do surgery, but we can't do surgery on your cancer unless you get your heart fixed." And so I finally gave in and said, okay, I'll get my heart fixed. And lo and behold, when I'm go get my uh, pacemaker to be installed, my heart at that point was down to 27 beats a minute, which is really, really, really dangerous and low. It had been in the 30s for decades, but my heart was failing and I didn't realize it. And so it literally failed that particular day. I was on the operating table before they even started the surgery to get my pacemaker in, and my heart failed, like literally 100% failed. And so they had to revive me and get my pacemaker installed in order for my heart to beat. And so it was just make it, so anyway, that story is probably a couple of hours long to go through, but in summary, that's really what it was. I had been refusing to get my heart fixed, and I ended up getting cancer, and through that process, I was forced to finally get it fixed. And lo and behold, if I didn't get it fixed that particular day, I would have died because my heart would not. If I was anywhere in the world other than on that operating table, my heart would have failed and there was no bringing it back. There was no electricity in my heart. So you couldn't have shocked my heart back. And so it's a miracle that I'm sitting here. So I'm excited to live life. And I know that because I am here, that God has a plan for me. And so I'm on fire. I'm just like, hey, I've got to make an impact on the kingdom. And I want to help people with their health because that's the mission that He's really given me.
So tell us more about that mission. So, yeah,
Yeah,
tell.
sounds good. So I grew up as an athlete, right? So and
Okay.
when I was a runner when I was young, I read a book called Eat to Win, and that book was really impactful in my career from a running perspective because it really transitioned me from having energy at the end of a race. So I knew that that was really important to fuel my body. And then I ended up, this is, crazy thing is was, my whole goal in life was to be a professional runner. And I got hit by a truck, a 4x4 truck while I was running in college. And
Oh,
that ended my running career. But, and I went into the corporate world for decades and did what the world tells you to do. The world tells you to get a degree, right? You get your college degree and then you go get a good job at a large corporation. And I did all the things. I ended up getting married and having three kids and having a house with a white picket fence and did all the things that the world tells you to do. And then bam, the pandemic hit. And that's what really transitioned my life dramatically again, like that first truck that hit me. So this one is more of a metaphorical truck that when the pandemic hit, my sales career ended because I couldn't travel. I was in Oregon and my job was in California and in Washington. So I couldn't do that job because of the travel restrictions. So they minimized the sales team. And so it was the first time in my life that I'd sit back and look at what's going on in the world. And I wanted to keep my family safe. And so I started going back and using that knowledge I had learned from youth as what we put into our bodies fuels our bodies. So I started thinking, how can I create something that's going to help my family? So I started looking at how I could create supplements. How can I create some natural solutions to help my family? And then I went down this research rabbit hole and learned just how corrupt our healthcare system has become and kind of the origins of a lot of that. And that just upended my whole world. I just couldn't believe how asleep I had been for the first 50 years of my life on what our society was really like from a healthcare perspective. And man, that just changed my whole life. So ever since I learned that stuff, I'm like, I've got to really make an impact. What can I, little one person, do to help the world from a health perspective? And that's why I started looking at solutions that I could create that I could help people. And one is education, right? Just let them know what's going on and then how incredibly wonderful our bodies are and how God made our bodies. And then He put a lot of what we need on the earth already, right? So there's lots of nutrition and things that we can do naturally to help our bodies. And so that's been really fun for me is to transition and try to help people naturally with health solutions. And that's why health is so important to me.
so tell us about that. You have a company, Exodus. You're
Yep.
natural supplements. And we think about, like, we all know the supplement industry, big industry, all kinds of things going on there, natural, organic, this, that, the other, right? Like that's a
Right.
whole rabbit hole
Yeah.
in and of itself.
Yeah.
But what is that just like? What is that doing? Because and I was noticing that it's this idea of cutting edge science with biblical wisdom mixed together. So
Right.
yeah, let's expand on that. Tell us more about
Sounds
this.
good. That was what was really fun for me is I'm just like I was researching a lot of things that were, how to help people, right? And one of the things I was researching was the Bible. That was what really transitioned my faith from during that period when I was doing a lot of research because I'd been a Christian, but I was one of the Christians that I'd go to school or I'd go to church, and I wouldn't think about church till the next Sunday. And I'd enjoy my service, but then I wouldn't think about it or act about it or do anything about it during in between. But during the pandemic, I started reading the Bible, and I read the Bible every day. And then, man, I just developed this amazing relationship with God, and I really now have transitioned my faith from instead of religion, I have a relationship, and that's been really transformational in my life. So anyway, I started researching the Bible as one of my sources of trying to find information. So I was looking into all the herbs and superfoods in the Bible because there's lots of healing properties and healing things in the Bible. And I was like, Lord, help me find something that really could help people in a dramatic way. And what ended up happening is I ended up meeting a practitioner, and this is the way the Lord works. He introduced me to people, and I was in the all natural health space talking to a lot of people. And this one healthcare practitioner had this molecular hydrogen blend. And when I was talking to him about his molecular hydrogen blend, I was like, that's amazing. That really complements a lot of the research that I'm doing on these biblical herbs and ingredients. And we decided to come together and we created Exodus because what his molecular hydrogen product does, which is really in modern science, right? It's really cool. It's a product that when you put it into your stomach, your body interacts with the capsule, and it creates hydrogen in the body. And then within the body, hydrogen, there's thousands of studies that have been done on the health benefits of hydrogen in the body. And so we took the best seven biblical herbs that complement what the hydrogen does to give you this a comprehensive supplement that can really replace five or six supplements that you would need to take to help you with your health. So that's what we ended up doing with Exodus is we created these seven herbs. The herbs are organic barley grass and wheatgrass, which give you nutrients. There's saffron in it, which saffron's the most expensive element in the world. I mean, it's like more expensive than gold, very expensive product, but it really helps with stress reduction. And then it's got aloe and cumin and frankincense and myrrh, and those combined with gut health as well as inflammation reduction. And then you add all of the awesome capabilities of what molecular hydrogen does. It acts as a master antioxidant. And what that really means is when it gets inside your bloodstream, it finds the free radicals, the sentient cells, the bad cells that are in your bloodstream, and it extracts them. And then it helps your mitochondrial process, which the mitochondrial process of your cells is your energy production. So it helps that work better. So it really does wonders inside your body. And then we combine it with those biblical ingredients, which give you energy. So it's just an awesome product that's helping a ton of people, and that's my passion now is to get people to understand how awesome this product is. And then we include a prayer guide that goes with it, and that's the kind of the mind, body, spirit connection. And I believe that's where my goal of to get a million new people to read the Word through their health is with this prayer guide. And so if they can read it out loud and declare it with their mouth, the Bible tells us there's power in your tongue, your eyes to read it and your ears to hear yourself say it, and then you're taking the capsule that you're using all three. You're using your mind, your body, and your spirit to help you with your health. And so, yeah, that's the short story of how Exodus became.
Wow, it's interesting. I'm actually reading a Bible it's not really a Bible study, it's a little booklet, and it actually talks about what you just said, which is don't just read the Word of God, speaking out loud.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing
actually,
how
and
powerful
actually,
your tongue is. Yeah.
yeah, and just using um, biblical verses to talk about, hey, that say, you speak this out loud, and the verse in Proverbs that says, there is health in the tongue and so forth. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let me ask you, first of all, it sounds really cool, this idea of how you put down these biblical based herbs together to create a supplement. And it's very interesting to hear that spin on it. So I love that. What was it like to get that? Like, is there like an approval process to put it together? Like, what
Yeah,
happened to make it, first of all, bring it to life and then get it onto the shelves or online or wherever you sell it?
yeah, and that's what's really frustrating to me about the whole supplement space is it's really dirty, right? Because there's a lot of people that are doing these supplements just to make money, and they're not there to really help people. So they'll just put in, crap ingredients in it and bottle it up, and then put a good sales message on it, and you're not helping anybody. And that we kind of, we didn't kind of, we just literally took the opposite effect. We was like, what can really help people? And then what's the best combination that we can create? And this healthcare practitioner I'm working with is amazing. He's been in the space for 30 plus years, and he's one of those practitioners that he's got an 8 month waiting list to get into his facility because he's kind of the doctor that you go to when you've already tried everything else and you go to him, and so he's just an amazing guy. He helps people all over the world, and so he's just brilliant. He's got this amazing scientific mind, and that's what it took to make the product. Was came up with all these herbs and superfoods, and there's 20 or 30 that we were considering, 25 I think we were considering, but we wanted to complement what molecular hydrogen did. And one of the research things that we were looking at is most people are deficient in the nutrients they're getting. With all our food supply being compromised, like 70% of our foods nowadays are ultra processed foods. So they do not have the nutrients in it that you need. Your body needs about 96 nutrients every day to operate. And most people are not getting them through the foods that we, 10, 20, 30 years ago, we would get those nutrients through just our normal eating habits, but our eating habits are really poor. Now that's why you see, a picture of people on the beach nowadays, and when you do it 30 years ago, and they're a lot different looking. It's because we've really done a bad job of taking care of our health and on what we're eating, and so anyway, nutrients was a really big part of it. So that's what we decided to do is we wanted one, give people the nutrients that they need so they'll start feeling better, reduce inflammation because inflammation is one of the biggest, it's the source of all disease. And in my podcast I interview holistic practitioners, and they all tell me that the source of all disease is inflammation. So man, if you can reduce inflammation, you're going to be really helping people. So that was really important. And so we looked and then to get the approval process, yes, it's a really difficult process. You have to find good ingredients, right? You can't find bad ingredients. You got to find these really good ingredients. So when we say we've got frankincense in the product, that we do really have frankincense in the product. And then we went through a really stringent manufacturing process where we got all the really good ingredients, and then we had to have it all blended, and then we have to have it tested, right? Each step of the way. So it's a really complicated process, but we did finally make it happen, and we developed this amazing product that it's called Exodus, and it's a capsule that you can take, and we recommend you take two capsules in the morning, and then if you start feeling a crash in the afternoon, you can take another couple. And so this was really beneficial to me. Remember my heart story early on? With that heart story, with my oxygen levels being really low because I didn't get enough oxygen because my heart wasn't beating fast enough. About 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd need to take a nap almost every single day. And it really got frustrating. But now with Exodus, that's one of the huge benefits of the product is I don't have to take that nap because I have sustained energy throughout the day. which is really, really cool. So there's so many benefits of this product. It's awesome. And sustained energy is just one of the many, many benefits.
So you are effectively, and I like, you started off by talking about, some people create supplements and they're just doing it to make money. And we
Yeah,
know, and we know in different businesses, there's no shortage of people that would not ever purchase their own product, service, whatever,
right.
which is unfortunate, but it is a reality that comes, with society. It is what it is, right? You are a client of yourself
Yeah,
by
yeah.
taking your own product.
Yeah.
So, in doing so, how has your health changed?
It's helped a lot. In fact, I even when mentioned that my cancer journey. What's interestingly about that, remember I told you how it goes through the molecular hydrogen goes through and helps clean out your blood. I believe it's been a really big part of my recovery story because I was meeting with one of my natural practitioners. I don't know if you've ever heard of muscle testing, but they do this applied kinesiology is what it's called, and they can test different medications on you and supplements and see whether it's good for you. And this one practitioner I was going to took Exodus and he muscle tested on me, and I'm taking significantly more than 2 capsules a day. So I'm taking 8 capsules a day because he thinks that's going to help my when it gets into my bloodstream. That molecular hydrogen is going to clear out the negative blood that's in my body. And the cool thing about that story is when my cancer did spread, I wasn't taking a lot of Exodus. I was taking just the two capsules. Now, when I started taking 8, the great thing about it is my cancer got in my lymph nodes, but it did not spread anywhere else after that period. So I was able to stop my cancer from spreading, and now my cancer is shrinking, and I'm doing lots of different treatments for it. I'm doing some experimental things in Tijuana, and I believe that's a big part of my story moving forward is trying to help people. I told you about, my mission is to help people with their health. And since I'm learning so much about how to deal with cancer, that I'm putting together this community called Biohackingville. And Biohackingville is going to have a lot of information just about biohacking in general, but it's also going to have an integrative oncology section within it to where I can really help people with all the things I'm learning about all natural health and all natural solutions related to cancer. So Exodus has been an awesome part of my journey, not only just from an energy perspective, but also in my cancer fight. So I'm super excited about it.
Well, for someone who's having that fight, I would never have thought that because your energy level is clearly quite good right now.
Yeah,
And
I'm excited. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be okay. I know that I'm winning the battle, and I'm energized because I really believe that I'm here to help other people. And so I think I have this, or I had it. I'm not gonna say that I have. I'm not gonna claim that I have cancer. I'm gonna say that I was diagnosed with cancer, and that's okay. But I am healed through his stripes. And I believe that I'm going to be healed. And if I'm not healed now, I'm manifesting I will be healed in his name. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just want to take my confidence and my journey and say, look, you can get well. You can reverse these things. And there's a way to do it. You can combine the standard of care in the United States with these holistic practices. And there's so many different things that you can do. And this center down in Tijuana is amazing. All right, I want to be a feeder down to them of people who need their help. And if they can't get the help here in the United States, then guess what? I know a place where you can go that's safe, it's clean, it's amazing scientists and laboratories. It's all integrated into one facility, and they can really help people in a dramatic way. So I'm excited about that.
got it. So I want to ask a practical question real quick,
Yeah.
as an aside. You mentioned, and it's not something we haven't heard before, but it's not as many people have heard it as you might think, and that's all disease starts with inflammation. What have
Yeah,
you found? Because you're living the fight, you're living the recovery right now.
that's right. That's
What
right.
would you say to our audience about, hey, these are the top two, three things you can do every day or every however long to bring your inflation to inflation. Not too much different. Inflammation though to a minimum.
That's true. No, that's thank you for that question because that is really, really good question because one of with my podcast, right, we talk about it a lot, and most of them say it starts in your gut. And so if you can get your gut healthy and your gut well, then your other organs will start working the way they're supposed to work. And so the interesting thing is what can you do to get your gut well? Because most people are just treating the symptoms, right? If you end up having something wrong with you, you'll go to a health practitioner, and that practitioner is so specialized, they'll help you with, let's just say it's a gallbladder problem. I don't know why I said that, but let's just say gallbladder problem. You go to a specialist and he says, "Oh, you need to take this pill for that gallbladder to get better." But guess what? That pill may affect another organ. So, and then 6 months later, you go, "Oh my gosh, I've got this other organ. My liver's now failing. So I got to go talk to a liver specialist." Liver specialist says, "Oh, geez, you need to take this," and then that causes something else. Right? All these drugs have side effects. So the problem is we need to get off of those as much as we can. But most people are just treating symptoms, like I said, rather than the what's the cause of that problem, right? So instead of me taking a pill for that gallbladder thing at the beginning, I should have said, the practitioner says, "What's causing that problem?" And so if we can go start at the core of what our nutrition is and getting our gut healthy, then guess what? Our body's going to start operating the way it's supposed to. So I tell people these 5 things that are like they're free. You should do these 5 things regardless every day. And if you do these 5 things, your body's going to start getting better. And then you can start adding and, maybe stacking things on top of those to help you. But the 5 of them are just one, hydration. Most people are not drinking near enough water. Our bodies are made up of 70% water. We need to drink better water. And then we come back to my story about the learning about how our medical system was compromised, was researching vitamin D. And so that they were suing a vitamin D doctor. I couldn't understand that, so I did a lot of research on it. Vitamin D is amazing. So I mean, the sun is really important for you. So getting that vitamin D is very important. The first 45 minutes of the day is called blue light. There's no UV rays in it, and the sun is really, really important. You can combine these three. If you go outside, you can then get your feet on the ground and do grounding. That really discharges all the negative energy and recharges your body, which I thought was silly. But the more research I did, it's not. It's actually real and it does work. So you can combine getting natural sun with your feet on the ground for a few minutes and then do these breathing techniques. So you can add 7 years to your life if you just do these breathing techniques, which I thought
Wow.
was fascinating, right? It's like, why we all have to breathe. Why don't we learn how to breathe correctly? And if you only have to do it for 7 minutes a day, and it can add 7 years to your life, why would we not all do that? And it's the reason is because we know most people don't know about it, right? If you knew about it, you'd probably do it. And so that's something that you can research. Go do research on Wim Hof, and he has these breathing techniques you can do that are simple. So you can combine those 3 things. So like that said, the water, right? And then those 3 things. And then the fifth one is just getting the right nutrition, right? You need to move, so you need to exercise. So I guess I could say 6, but nutrition is that other fifth one that's just vital, that your body needs 96 nutrients every day. And so if you don't get those nutrients through what you're eating with your food, which it's almost impossible to do now in the United States with our food supply, that you need to supplement it with things. And obviously I say that because I have a supplement that does help people with that, right? Our excess product does help people with it. But if you don't want to use our supplement, that's fine too. But go find the way to get those nutrients in the body. And so I think that those are super, super important. But that, to answer your question, was a long-winded way to do it, but it will help reduce inflammation in the body. and it'll get your organs starting to work properly. And then you can do the things like you can do a detox on your liver, and then it, will help your liver working better. When you get your liver working better, other things start working better. It's just like it's a snowball effect that you can do, and it's addicting. You start feeling well, and you're like, man, I feel great. I should be doing this more. I should be doing this more often. And so it becomes more of a fun thing to do rather than, oh my gosh, I got to exercise, I got to eat right. It's like instead of it being a chore, you can look at it as a challenge and just say, hey, I'm going to go start making these changes. You don't have to do everything at once, right? No one can do all these changes at one time. We're really good at that as humans, right? Not doing that. But
Got
anyway,
it. Love it. And the beauty of that is it's not complicated. Like it's always fascinating to me how the most basic things that we all know we're supposed to do
right, right. Like those
to the
slight things
most mileage.
everyone knows, right? You've heard of all
Right.
those, right? It's just we
There's
don't do it.
no revolutionary anything. Yes,
Right.
yes.
That's right. That's why
So
God created everything on this earth for us already. We just need to understand it and utilize it, and then we're going to be much better off.
stop searching for the next great thing. It's already
Yes,
here.
that's
So
true.
before Exodus, before Huey Strong, there was Rob the elite athlete. And I was as I was researching, I guess there was a snowy day in Utah where the path all changed.
Yeah,
So
that was
like,
amazing.
what was going on back then before all of this stuff?
Yeah. So I was a runner. That was my goal in life was to be a professional runner. I was so excited about what I was doing because it was just one of those sports that I just excelled at other than other sports. I was naturally good at it. But I think my eating habits were really big important part of that because my competition is eating hot dogs and popcorn, right? And I'm fueling my body appropriately, and I really had a great finish in my races, and that helped me be a better runner. And I just made the U. I got a full ride running scholarship to Division I school. I just made the U.S. junior team. I was the second best miler in the country. Went on an
Okay, so you
international
were young then.
tour.
You were
Yeah,
still young then.
I was in college. Yep.
Okay.
And so I was on my way. Everything was going swimmingly well. Was the next couple years was the Olympics, and I had my goal to go to make the Olympic team. And then I was out on a training run that in the winter in Utah. It was snowing and breezy, and my buddy and I were out on that 10-mile run. And about halfway through that run, all of a sudden my buddy yells my name, and I turn around and all I see is this 4x4 truck sliding right into me, and I had nowhere to go. I didn't have a chance to move one way or another. All I could do is say, "I'm gonna get hit. I'm gonna get hit," and it hit me in the hip and threw me 36 feet. So that's a long way if you look at 36 feet
Yeah, it
in
is.
the air, and I landed straight on my face, and then
Mm.
my knees, and and I just was like a rag doll. Like I had a bloody nose earlier in the run. And that bloody nose clogged my throat, so I'm laying unconscious on the side of the ground, freezing, and my throat was clogged because of the blood. So I was on the ground dying basically, and if it wasn't for my friend knowing that I had that bloody nose and evaluating me, he literally reached in and unclogged my throat. And if he hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be here today because I would have perished. It took the paramedics 12 minutes to get there, and you can't survive without oxygen for 12 minutes. So that was my first kind of accident where I was saved, and I was like, what the heck, this, and that changed. I couldn't run again. I tried to make a comeback but couldn't, and that's when I ended up going into the corporate world after that. Got my degree and still went on and I had a great career from a sales perspective. I was a really good salesman at selling enterprise software, and but I was doing everything for me, rather than for other people. And now I'm just 100% the opposite. It's like I'm not doing these businesses for me. Obviously, I want to create a big business to have a bigger impact on the kingdom. But if I'm not helping the one person that needs help, then I'm not doing my job. So
So
I'm here
you
to
were
help.
do, so you were doing corporates. So you had the accident,
Yeah,
and not fun, of course, to see a vehicle coming for you, have the ability to realize it's coming for you, and then still, I mean,
it was
that's
brutal.
fun. So,
It was brutal. Yeah, it took a
so
long time to recover that process. Yeah, I summarized it in a few minutes, but it was a multiple month recovery process.
well, I mean, obviously, a mental shift. You're going from wanting to be in the Olympics to now you got to go corporate. That's a big
Yeah.
shift.
It
So,
was it was tough. Yeah. I really went through a depressed period for quite a while, where I was just I couldn't be around running. I couldn't be around just I yeah, I just had a really difficult time. And then I just decided, hey, I've got to finish my degree, and then I've got to take care of my family, and so I need to go get a job, and that's what I ended up doing. So.
so was faith a thing back then?
It was, but it was a minor thing. Yes, I did go to church and I did believe that God saved me that day, but I didn't have the transformation that I had with the second truck. After that second truck hit
Mm.
me, my faith transformed in a major way when I started reading the Bible every day. I'm like, all the other times my whole life, I'd read pieces of the Bible and I've heard lots of sermons, and I'd read snippets of the Bible, but I'd never read it cover to cover or listened to it cover to cover. And man, changed me dramatically when I did that, because I did a lot of research. Had that skill of research, and the more research I did, it was just the Bible is incredibly the most well documented, and it's the hardest book to not prove, because there's so much proof about the Bible. There's archaeology proof, there's textual criticism proof, there's prophetic proof, and it's just things that are just, as you add them, stack them all up, it's just undeniable. That's like, that book is the most incredible book ever, and if it is so, then maybe we should read it. And so I did, and that's fun. So anyway, I encourage people to go to read the actual Bible, because a lot of people don't, and then there's some amazing resources to talk about the authenticity of the Bible, because it is an orchestrated message that's created by a divine being, in my opinion, right? So
No, absolutely. Love it. So that was after, the faith thing evolved, in particular after a second accident, but in the middle there, you had this whole corporate journey.
yeah, yeah.
What was that moment like when you said, you know what, it's time to start my own company?
Yeah, it was a pandemic that forced it, right? That's what was
Right. You
so
had mentioned
strange.
that, but
Yeah,
but tell us more about the moment. Because a lot of people, they got through the pandemic and, they went back to a job, or
right,
they
right.
pivoted and people were like, I just want to get a job where I work from home, and people don't
Yeah.
want to go to the office, and all of that.
It was literally that story I was telling about the vitamin D thing. That's really started my deep dive into trying to figure out what was going on. Because that when I saw them attacking this doctor for vitamin D, they're suing him for billions of dollars with a beat. And I'm like, wow,
Okay.
he's
Wow.
got to be a really bad dude, right? So I really did a lot of research on, like, man, and I was also vitamin D. I was like, man, maybe vitamin D is really, really bad for you. And I was really interested in all these ingredients. So I was doing a lot of research, and I couldn't find anything wrong with vitamin D. Of course, if you take too much of anything, it's bad, right? If you take way too much vitamin D, then it's not going to be good for you. But there's nothing wrong with the actual ingredient itself. And then they couldn't find anything bad about the doctor either. I did a lot of research. I was like, I'm gonna see, maybe he's got a lot of skeletons in his closet, and I couldn't find them. So then that's when I started researching the motivation behind suing him. And that motivation behind suing him is what really motivated the rest of my life, was to
Wow.
seeing how corrupt our healthcare system is. And the research I did behind it is our healthcare system is set up to not help people get better and help with the source of the problem, like we've been discussing. It's like we need to find out what the source of your problem is, not what the symptom, right? You got to stop treating symptoms. We need to treat the source of the problem. And when I find out that our healthcare system is incentivized to not do the, root cause solve problem solving. It's more just to the pharmaceutical industry is just ginormous, and if you do start researching it, it's actually alarming. And when I did that research, that's just motivated me that I've got to help people, and how can I help the world? And I'm only one little guy, and so that's what I decided to do. Is just like I'm gonna instead of going out and doing something else for other people and selling things like I was really good at. I just want to understand how to help people, and if I can help people through this journey, then I think the Lord will bless me. Right? Is was my thought process at that time.
So you start a company, you feel called to do it, you make the shift.
Yeah,
What was that like with your family? Because you'd been in corporate for a long time, you had
yeah,
success, and
yeah,
now we're talking about life pivot because these are things and this is important because a lot of entrepreneurs are like, okay, if I do this, how is that going to disrupt the household? Is it
yeah,
selfish to do it? Am I just, chasing a wild dream? Like, right? Like, no matter how many times you hear people about, I'll start a business, I'll be an entrepreneur, there's a big difference between talking about it and actually doing it and the
right.
impact on the family,
Yeah,
especially if you were successful in your previous career
yeah.
and it's taking good care of you. What was that shift?
Yeah, it was really, really, really difficult. I'm not gonna be, sugarcoat it because it really was tough. I went from making a lot of money to making no money, and I've, in the last, t 10 years, I've made less money than I ever have in my entire life. Well, it's just money's not the motivator anymore, and so it became a big different in shift. And my family's been amazingly supportive, and so but it's like instead of going on those vacations and doing the things that we used to do, we do just things differently, right? We still do fun things, we just don't do the extravagant vacations at nice hotels and in extravagant locations like we were able to do back then. But now, we just those things aren't important to us because after you go do them, it's like you come back a week later and you're still in your same situation. And did that really change? And did that really impact your life? It's neat, right? It's really fun to see those things. But anyway, just those types of benefits of having money weren't aren't important anymore. And so that's been a big change is those things, that what becomes important is the family and the impact that you're having. And so I think that was big help is like my family realizes that I'm here to try to help people and they want to help people too. And so it's a kind of a win-win thing where they're like, okay, I'm going to support you. And we're not going to be able to do these extravagant things that we used to be able to do, but we're also helping people. And that is so much more fulfilling in life rather than going on this great vacation. And then a week later, you're like, oh, well, that sucks. I just spent, ridiculous amounts of money and now I'm, stuck back at work, right? Doing my day job. So it's much more gratifying to do what I'm doing now because I can work 15 hours a day and I'm fine working 15 hours a day because I'm trying to help people and trying to do something rather than working 15 hours a day at your day job sucks, right? It's like, oh, this is brutal. I had to stay late at the office and, missed all my kids' activities and, that's brutal. But being an entrepreneur, it's similar. It's just you're doing it for a different purpose, right? You're doing it for something you're trying to build rather than building it for somebody else. And that became important.
Being others focused, it's almost a contradiction in today's world. And when you think about social media, it's look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
and there's no shortage of communities in different fields, both business and pleasure, where literally it feels like the purpose of the post you see is look at me
Right.
for
Right.
whatever reason. So it's healthy to hear, this idea of it's others focus, others focus, others focus. Like, not everyone that's listening to the show is necessarily a Christian, whereas in the Christian
Of
world, being
course.
others focus is for a definite, that's part of the part of the story. But
Right.
what do you're going to talk to people that are not believers in
Of course.
Jesus, and
All the
so
time.
how do you help them take on this mindset of being others focused?
Well, the good thing about it is most people innately have something in them that says there's something else that out there, right? And whatever a lot of people call it the universe, or they call it, whatever. They just I think we all have this innate feeling that there is something else out there. And so whether you call it God or Jesus, and you believe in my religion, that's you don't have to, right? But what I want people to understand is there's so much scientific evidence about the power of your mind. And your mind is very, very powerful. And your mind can control your body, which is unbelievable. Stuff I didn't believe. And then we did a lot of research on frequencies. I even have a skin patch business, the QE Strong business. We have frequencies, these patches that just have frequencies on them. You apply them to your body, it connects to the energy system in your body. And our main product is a pain relief product. And it's just amazing where this solution that has no medication can help you with your pain. But if you don't engage your mind and your mind knows that that's going to help you, then you're gonna struggle. So we got to shift people's mindsets to understand that, man, this body that God gave us, whether you call it God gave us or whatever, you have a body and you only have one of them, right? So I can explain that to what, no matter what religion you're part of, you know that you only have one body and that eventually we're all going to pass away. And so we have a finite time and we have one vessel that we're dealing with. So let's understand how our vessel works. If we understand how our vessel works, and the big part of that is that whole mind, body, spirit connection I was talking about. If I can share research with people, it's like, hey, look, you can go do this research on this mind body topic, and then they start realizing, oh my gosh, my mind is very powerful. And then I can even share research on intentions, where the intentions that you have towards something else can have a physical impact on something external. It's these frequencies that are all around us. And you start doing research on frequencies and quantum frequencies, and people's eyes start, opening up. They're like, wow, that's really amazing. Stuff I did not know. And there's a lot of things that I did not know either. But the more research I did, I always come at things from a very skeptical perspective. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people right now, they're skeptical about the things I'm saying. And I wholeheartedly accept that. It's fine. I want you to be skeptical because I want you to go do that research thing that I was talking about. Be an expert researcher and don't believe anything that everybody tells you, right? The media is lying to you, the TV is lying to you, the radio is lying to you. You need to come up with your own source of truth. And when you do come up with your own source of truth, it's actually encouraging and enlightening. And man, it doesn't matter what religion you are, that we're all in the same boat. So that's kind of how I go at it. It's like, hey, we have one body, and if I can help you understand that your mind can control your body, and we can help get you the right nutrients, and we can help you start doing the right things with your body, and then guess what? There's lots of resources for you to go find things. There's all these practitioners that I'm working with. It's an army of them who are really involved in helping people, right? Whether you have a certain type of health condition or you have a certain cancer, you have a certain whatever, there's a network of people there that I've found that I want to be able to connect people with because it goes kind of outside of our healthcare system.
Love it. And it's there's just something super beneficial when we help other people.
Right,
And
right,
it's like we all know. I remember when my kid, he was in a parade as a Cub Scout. So he was young, right? I mean,
right.
I don't know, he was probably 6, 7 years old at the time. and his troop participated in a parade in the town,
Awesome.
and he handed out candy because that's what his troop was doing. They were handing out
Right.
candy. And I'll never forget when, we picked him up at the end of the parade and he was just glowing. And Dad, that was so, Mom, that was so fun. And he just loved it. Just this, and I mean, it's giving out candy, but when you're
Right.
young, that simple little act of service
Yeah.
made such a difference. And I think most children, maybe all children, are inherently very good at. I mean, people always talk about kids being, it's mine, it's mine, but
Right.
the reality is most kids, if not all, smile when they give,
Yeah.
right? And they
Yeah.
do it, and then we lose that growing up. We
Yeah,
lose that,
becomes me, 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 right? That's like
yeah,
I went into that after my accident. I went into that me, me, me stage for decades, and
yes.
that I think that's a bad place to be overall, right? I was successful, but it was I wasn't satisfied deep in my soul like I am now, right? And it's like I'm nowhere near making any the money that I was making, and my life is a lot different than it was then. But deep down inside, I'm comfortable with the person that I am, and that I want to help other people, and that just gives me the confidence and energy to go help others, right? And if I can help with just one person listening to this podcast today decides to start doing one of those five things that we talked about, right? Just start doing one of those things, then I've done my job, right? It's like, good. Somebody's going to go and start making a change and start making a difference. And then maybe the next week they'll add the second one. And, just start making a change. I mean, if you can start taking control of your own health, then guess what? Then you're going to be able to impact this society that we all can, right? If we're all in this
Sure.
together and we all help each other, man, imagine the amazing world we would have, right? Instead of fighting, we'd be working together to create this beautiful space and beautiful country that I believe we live in.
So when it comes to this idea of making the world better, a thought that goes through my mind is one thing I know for sure does not make it better is the very high number of people that are living. Maybe they're successful, maybe they're not, maybe they're in between, but they're not living their true calling and purpose.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that is arguably one of the greatest tragedies. And we all know people today that have a job, a business, whatever. Hey, do you love what you do? No. And maybe they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Maybe I mean, they just have a bad attitude, or maybe they're, and what is often the case is they're just not in their lane.
Right.
We started this show, you talked about, hey, I'm living in my purpose, and the energy coming off of you is clear. What is your message to people to help them figure out what is my purpose? Why are we
Yeah.
here?
Well,
Like, not why are we here, the whole philosophical thing. Why is
right.
me,
Right. Right.
what am I here to do to
Well,
make
look, I want to give people confidence that, hey, guess what? If you woke up today and you have breath in your lungs, guess what? Then God has a plan for your life, because like He literally breathed life, breath into us to create us as human beings. And if you're still here, just like I've had four different times where I've almost died, and I'm still here. So you got to have confidence that guess what? He does have a plan for your life. And then okay, so then transition that to say, okay, he does have a plan for me, then guess what? Maybe I should go figure out what that plan is. And so, and then it doesn't come easy and you never figure it out, right? But I really honestly believe that I'm finally walking in that path. And it's because I'm being obedient, right? I literally read the Bible a lot. Maybe I encourage you to do that. That's where I found my path, right? Was by reading the Bible. And it's like he just brings things and brings information to me. And I do a lot of research on a lot of topics. And so you start trying to find things that you're passionate about, right? How can you help other people? And you're going to find your purpose if you just start looking for it and then realizing that you have it, right? That's other people just like don't think that they do. So I want to just encourage people that, man, you do have a purpose, right? You have breath in your lungs today. So don't be discouraged at all. Just know that you're still here and that you can have a major impact on this world. Just you, that the single person yourself listening to this, you can have a major impact on this world, even if you don't think you can. And that you just can start doing simple things. Maybe it's your mission to go talk to your neighbor, right? Maybe your neighbor needed that nudge, or maybe there's somebody that's in your phone that you haven't talked to for a decade. And it's like, man, you get a nudge, open up that phone and call those people, right? Start reaching out and just living life for others, and you're going to start being blessed for that, and then you're going to start stepping into your purpose. And that would be my encouragement to everyone, is give them hope, right? That there is hope, and there he does have a plan for every single one of us.
Mm. And, I think about a lot of people will start in business and it doesn't work out.
Right.
It doesn't work out. Okay. Maybe they're investing, maybe it's a product, maybe it's a service, whatever it is. And when they do that, it's very discouraging. And so the message you shared, you know, it's not uncommon for an entrepreneur. And I've personally lived it where you work really hard and you reach a point and you're like, this is not fulfilling. Like,
Right.
what are we doing here?
Right.
Like, you could be good at it and it still feels empty, right? Like, these are real things that happen in the world
True.
of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So I love that message of just the hope and the encouragement and so forth that, find your purpose, make things happen. So, um, last question for you. Of all the things you've learned over life, and I don't know many people have been hit by two trucks effectively. One literal, one metaphorical. I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm like this. But of all the things you have gone through, what would you say is maybe the biggest mistake you've made? But not that it just made you better, but that it had such an impact that you were like, okay, this was a blessing in disguise.
Right. Right. Man, I could give you probably five things
There,
that fit
pick
fit
one.
that criteria. Yeah. One of them was living that corporate life was for me. It wasn't. It was because I had to do that particular job for a really long time, and it wasn't satisfying to me. But I did that job so that I could have that house. I could live in that place that I wanted to live. My kids could go to the places I wanted to, the schools I wanted them to go to. It was like all about just me. What can I do to make my family bigger, better, everything like that. And then, man, once I've transitioned to be living my life not for me, but for others, it just gave me the freedom. And it's like, oh my gosh, yes, of course, I just, when I made that transition, I wish I just would have done that decades earlier, right? Instead of doing it in my 50s, I wish I would have done that in my 20s. I think have been able to make a much larger impact in the world if I would have done it back then. When I transitioned into the corporate world, I wish I would have transitioned into it with a different mindset and a different career goal than I did. So maybe that was my biggest mistake, was just doing what the world tells you to do rather than what your soul tells you to do.
Mm. And when we find our purpose, it becomes a little bit easier, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
So,
exactly. I can say that now because I'm totally comfortable and confident that I am in my purpose. And it took me a long time to get here, which is another one of those. Dang, wish I would have figured it out a lot earlier. But um,
well, if we knew what we did at 21, what we know a few decades later, well, we'd be dangerous.
that's true.
We'd be
Very,
dangerous. So,
very true.
well, Rob, I want to thank you for coming on today. It's just a good word on just a different perspective on this thing we call entrepreneurship and
Yeah,
creating business for yourself and just taking that step from the lavish down to maybe a simpler life, but ultimately one that's much more fulfilling. So I appreciate you sharing. And for
Yeah.
our listeners, if you want to connect with Rob, we'll have links to him below. If you want to check out his website, his health supplement, his podcast, all those links will be there below. And he gave you 5 things to do to start feeling better. So take action on that. So,
Mhm.
Rob, I want to thank you again for being on the show today. I appreciate it. Can you leave us with a final word?
Yeah, I just appreciate the ability to, again, if you have that breath in your lungs, God has a purpose for you. And then I do have a free gift for people if they want to go to exodusstrong.com/free. You can get a free travel pack of the supplement. So try it. I think you'll really enjoy it. But just know that it comes from the heart. I'm there to help you, and I want you to be able to, be better, and then I want you to pass it on, right? So as you get better, then guess what? Go visit your neighbor, call your friend, call your family that you don't talk to, and start mending that relationship, and let's all make the world a better place.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you, Rob, for being on the show again. I appreciate it. Look forward to continuing the conversation.
Yeah, appreciate you very much.